shall I?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening everyone. I'm really delighted to be here, and as Dave said, I've been fortunate over the last 5 years to have developed a constructive working relationship with Spokes and other cycling organisations and with MSP colleagues through the cross-party group on cycling. And I'm particularly pleased that along with my colleagues in the Council and in the Parliament, we've managed to move cycling up the political agenda. The reality is that when I was elected in 2011, the funding on active travel was going in the wrong direction. And I'm very pleased that at the end of this Parliament, it's actually going in the right direction. It's actually, as Dave acknowledged, at a record level. Do I think that's enough? No, I don't. And at various points during the last 5 years, I challenged my own government in the Chamber, in committee, time and time again to do more on cycling. I wrote an open letter to the Transport Minister asking him to release more funding for cycling, and I'm glad that those calls were heeded by the government. But I'm very mindful that if we're serious about meeting our ambitions to be a cycle-friendly nation, if we're serious about meeting the government's own target and ambition to have 10% of all journeys by bicycle by 2020, we really do need to step up to the mark, and we really do need to commit to investing more, not just in cycling, but in cycling infrastructure. Because I'm very conscious in this city, which of course has one of the best cycling rates in the country. We've already reached the 10% target. It's around 11% of people travel by bike every day. But if we're to build on that success, we need to ensure that the investment is in cycling infrastructure, because there are many more people who would cycle and who want to cycle if the roads were safe enough to do so. So part of that is about grabbing the money that we can when it becomes available, as Alison and I did on 2 occasions when we took our demands to the Cabinet Secretary for Finance, John Swinney, when there were Barnett consequentials for shovel-ready projects. We asked for some of that money for cycling, and on the back of that we got the resurfacing of North Meadow Walk cycle path. But incremental bits of expenditure here and there aren't enough. There needs to be a real commitment from government, and I think the government has heard the message, and I think we now, at this point, have a good foundation on which to build. But I'm not under any illusion that we're anywhere near where we need to be as a country in terms of our investment in active travel. And if I am re-elected, I will continue to work with colleagues across the parties and with colleagues on the Council and in Parliament to take that agenda forward. One of the things I was particularly pleased about was the success we had in achieving an exemplar award. And this was an idea of one of my co-convener colleagues, Claudia Beamish, who's not here tonight, but who absolutely deserves credit for having come up with the idea of having an award for an exemplar project. Now, Alison, myself and Claudia met with the Transport Minister, and we persuaded him to back that proposal. And Transport Scotland and Sustrans have said that this could be a game changer, which will lead to Scotland pioneering bigger, better and safer infrastructure in our towns and cities. And I think if we get local authorities committing to this and bidding against each other and competing with each other for the prestige of having an exemplar award for cycling, we will see the money following that commitment to have the exemplar award. I'm also pleased that I was able to play an instrumental role through my convenership of the Parliament's Infrastructure and Capital Investment Committee. There was one morning when myself and Sarah Boyack did a pincer movement on the head of the ScotRail network Rail Alliance, and basically shamed him into admitting that the situation facing cyclists was unacceptable. I thought I would have to have quite a hard job to persuade him, but the minute I said to him, don't you think it's absurd that cyclists are having to compete with pedestrians on a narrow pathway in and out of the station, he just put his hands up and said, yes, you're right, we have to look at this, we have to change it, and we will, and they have, and I'm pleased that we were able to bring that about. I've also supported the call for presumed liability. That's not my government's policy, but I've spoken in favour of that, both at the SNP conference and in the Parliament. I believe that that is a hallmark of a country and a society that is serious about cycling and active travel. Other European countries do it, and I think we should do it as well.